Electronics for kids. Are they good or are they bad?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Ayers, and I'm here with Miss Elise, and this is another episode of your favorite podcast, Parental Composure
2.0. Okay.
So, everybody, glad you're here. Thank you for watching. And as always, follow us on our socials, mainly at YouTube, ourcommunitynow.com, our Facebook, Instagram, and it's the same, Parental Composure.
Yeah, and our videos live on ourcommunitynow.com now. So you can not only see our video, but you can see articles and other podcasts that we do, which you might enjoy. Not might, actually, you would enjoy. But yeah, so what are we going to talk about today?
So today we're going to talk about electronics and our kids. Now, this is one of those things where parents are up and down, up and down, up and down about.
Yeah,
like,
true.
I've never met a consistent amount of people that just goes for one thing. It's like, if I talk to you and I get your feelings about devices, I'm going to go to that person and it's going to be totally different.
Yeah, very true.
It just goes down the line.
Very true. Now,
I am one of those parents where I used to feel where devices were damaging for our kids. I really did. What about you?
Yeah, I think the same. Well, in the past, I've thought that they were damaging, but realizing that they're just part of our life now, it kind of makes me feel like, okay, well, where's the middle ground here? Like, you know.
Yeah. I explained to you before, like, my thoughts about it. So, yeah, I was 100% hardcore, stay off your phone, if you're not using it. And on the you stay off the computer for if you're on there for any more than an hour. And I was really strict. But as time went on and all these new devices started coming out and all the new things that we can do with, any device, whether it's an iPad, cell phone, or, even the laptops, it's we have to think of it like this. In our day, because we grew up in the same era, it was TV. And, TV, pagers.
Oh, weird. I never had a pager. Did you have a pager?
You never had a pager?
No.
Oh, my God. My pager was even customized.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what would you get pages for?
Everything.
Is that what it's called? And when you get paid? Okay.
Yeah.
Pagered.
Yeah, page me when you get home.
Yeah, page me. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I can literally read a sentence that is in numbers and read it like that.
Do you know I can spell my name in numbers?
I can too.
Really?
6153 or 6453. So there's two different ways that people did it. The 4 is an I or they use the 1.
Okay.
So,
see, mine was 3. Well, backwards. 37153. Well, but it would be, I don't know.
So put it this way, I can literally read a sentence with numbers.
Wow.
Just nothing but numbers.
That's impressive. But then the cell phone came.
That's right. The cell phone came.
So you didn't have to read it in numbers anymore.
And then that's when I learned how to
text
without looking. Yeah. So you can't do it anymore because when you text without looking, it would be the buttons.
Yeah.
Ain't no buttons on the phones these days.
Yeah.
So TVs, pagers, what else? Radio, Walkmans.
Yeah, Walkmans.
These are all devices that we got information on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever is going on locally or in the world or whatever. But that was how we did it.
Yep.
Then came AOL.
Email.
Yep. And then it took off.
Instant message. Oh my gosh. I think I was like a senior in high school.
Yeah.
When AOL came out.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And I was like, I loved it.
But that's the crazy part is that we kind of had our own little experience with all these, with some of these devices. So we really can't fault our kids for doing it because I don't know about you, but my first cell phone, I was on it 24/7.
Well, there's so much
Texting and calling.
freedom. I think that's what our kids don't get is like when we were growing up, it's not like, I mean, I don't know about you, but we had like a phone, a family phone that if someone wanted to talk, they call and it rings.
You didn't have your own phone line in your room?
And no.
Oh, that
And
was
if
a
it was
big thing.
busy, then you're
Oh, yeah.
screwed. And, if you're expecting a call from like your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're throwing a tantrum because you're like, no, I told them I could talk this time. Yeah. Kids don't even get it. They don't even know.
You had to set times to be on the phone.
It's true.
But
Yep.
I don't know about you, but when I got in trouble, can't use the phone for a week.
Oh, yeah.
Disaster. I mean, don't get
Totally.
me wrong. I was out and about playing and doing what normal teenagers and kids do, but if I got my phone taken away, world was coming to an end.
Totally.
Because I used it every night when I had to come home from being outside or stuff. That's how me and the friends would still talk.
Did you ever like sneak out and like tell someone to be like, okay, call one time? I used to do this all the time. Like, call one time and hang up, and I'll know that I got to meet you at this time.
Well, mine was
I was
always
the worst kid
Mine was
ever.
always, it was, I can't remember how many times, but let it ring like twice or something like that.
Yeah.
Hang up and then call back,
Yes.
and I'll make sure I'll be the one to pick up the phone.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, so if you think about it, our kids getting their phones taken away is the world comes to an end.
Totally.
I mean, they're acting the same way as we did, just with different types of devices. I mean, to be honest with you, if I had the devices when I was, oh my goodness.
Like, okay, I look at my kids and I'm like, they got the Xbox, they got Instagram, they have text message, which they never use because, I mean, I know my oldest, 16, none of his friends used text message. He gets pissed because he's like, I gotta have Snapchat. Well, we haven't allowed Snapchat. And he's like, well, I just lost like a group of my friends because that's the only way that they communicate. And
That's
I'm
a
like,
conversation for another day.
yeah,
by the way.
I mean, it's crazy though.
Snapchat is a
So what I'm saying is like, even if they get their phones taken away, it's like, well, what other solution do I have to talk with my friends? And they have a million other things, probably things that we don't even know about, honestly.
That's true too.
So really, I mean, we have that ability to be like, okay, this is your punishment. Your phone is getting taken away for a week. But in the back of their mind, they're like, well, I can just write a message on my computer at school or blah, blah, blah. So is that healthy? That amount of freedom.
That's my
Huge
biggest
amount of
thing
freedom.
is that, even though the biggest punishment to let's just use Riley in this situation. The biggest punishment, get your phone taken away. Oh my goodness. And she would act like we just abused her.
Totally. It's like the end of the world.
Right. So, but the thing is that
I think I've said totally like 5 times in the past 2
Totally.
minutes.
Totally.
But the thing is that that's all it takes to get my kid to do something. But I mean, is a lot of time on the phone, the computer, and the iPad bad? Is it bad for them, or is it just the way of life that they have to learn? Well, that actually we have to learn because
Right.
it's kind of like a generation phase out. I love using that generation phase out where those kids that generation is going to be taking care of the world one day.
Yeah.
Our generation's out,
It's a little scary.
but that's their way of life, and that's going to be their way of life. It wasn't our way of life, so since that wasn't our way of life, we're thinking that's bad. That's
Right.
maybe it's on us to hone in and make the boundaries,
Yeah.
because you're right, that is a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Too much freedom.
It's a lot of freedom, but it's like, I mean, what happens when you block that stuff out? Like, say I were a parent
They'll
that
go against it and still find a way to make it happen.
I mean, maybe not all kids. I have to say
Oh, yeah.
there are some kids that would probably be obedient, but it's like if you do take away all those things, how many kids are going to just go find it anyways? Or, I mean, for example, in my home, we couldn't have video games, like we did not have any consoles
Growing up or
growing
now?
up. Growing up.
Oh, okay.
So like we couldn't have a Nintendo, we couldn't have an Xbox. Now when we got to teenager, like when we were teenagers, oh excuse me, my parents actually let us have an Xbox. But I can tell you right now, and my brother is an adult, like he's 38 maybe. He loves playing video games, and the first thing he did after getting out of the house was like dive into video games. Why? Because they were never allowed. You know, so it's like,
yeah, I don't.
it's
Sorry,
almost,
I don't blame him for that.
yeah. I mean, it's almost like, well, like if you do say none of these things are allowed, and you don't take the time to just help your kids maneuver through those things, you know, a lot of the times they're going to rebel.
Yeah, and
I mean,
that's what I'm kind of afraid of is, you know, because if they get in that rebellion. I mean, we both done it to our parents, but once you get in that rebellion stage, it's, you know, it just can be so much worse just because they want to do anything and everything in spite of you.
totally.
You know, and that's the last thing that we want to happen. But I have a lot of close friends who totally despise electronics and this and that. So, but me and my wife are on the same page of it's just the way of life these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, if you think about it, and I know we've talked about this before, but the kids are at school all day.
yeah.
So now electronics are brought into the school system, which I get because that is the future, right? If a kid doesn't know how to type or if a kid doesn't know how to use a computer, then that's giving them a disadvantage in our world today. But where does the line get crossed? Because it's like, I know my kids, even if they've been on the computer for school all day, they're still going to want to come home and watch the show they like, or, you know, pick up a phone and look at TikTok or YouTube or whatever. So it's like, where does this boundary lie? And if there isn't a boundary, and if there's not, you know, it's like, do we need to invent one? Do we need to create one? Is it okay for our kids? We don't even know, because it's not like it's been around for so long. We don't even know the long-term effects on kids.
Okay, check this out though.
Yeah.
So us as parents, we really can't monitor them 24 hours a day on their devices, right? So, you know, at first when Riley was like really into her phone, it was get off your phone. You don't need to be on the phone right now. You don't need to be watching the stupid stuff that you watch and this and that, because I'm assuming she's doing everything bad on the phone. Well, come to find out, she was just watching these harmless TikToks on there that, you know, that are meant for her age group. You know what I mean? So it also can build a trust thing, you know, as we want to spend more time with our kids and stuff like that. You know, I've learned to use the phone probably because I got so many kids, but I learned to use the phone to my advantage. I use it to my advantage. So it's like, you know, look, I'll let you have, you know, I don't really say anything to them about being on their phone. But when it's time to do something as a family, or, you know, with me or your mom or what have you, they know that
takes precedence.
Yes, exactly. So and my kids for the most part they still have a couple things to learn. Like when Riley unloads the dishes, she's still holding her phone. When she cleans, she's holding her phone. And she tells me she's listening to music, but I have an iPhone too. Not sure why you need to hold your phone while you're. So come on.
And
I wasn't born
probably
yesterday.
takes like 10 times longer to unload the dishes
Right,
with the
exactly.
phone in your hand.
So yes, there are some things that, you know, being on the phone to me, I guess you know, it's okay at a reasonable amount of time, but you know, Riley still does need to work on, you know, letting go of the phone, like literally.
Well, I mean, it's just like a whole new beast for parents, you know, because it's like we didn't have it, so we don't know what our parents would have done in those situations. So we're just literally like trying to figure this out as we go. So, I mean, I can feel for all the parents out there, because it's like what is right, what is wrong, is there a good, is there a bad, or are we just needing to learn how to like move with this?
And
Like,
that's the biggest thing for me. Like I've never been the one to be like, I think I gotta roll with this.
yeah.
Like because it is the future. But I never thought I would say that because I was usually hardcore on the whole cell phone thing.
Well, we've really had to learn how to roll with things the past few years.
That's true, too.
Honestly. So, in some ways, I think.
So I play video games. Mm-hmm. Also,
What do you play?
I play football and baseball and basketball type. I play sports games.
Okay.
But like for me, I don't play them because they're just fun. They actually help me. You know, I play them every night before I go to bed. I play one of each every night before I go to bed.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
because it puts me into a calm and relaxed zone. Mm-hmm. Kids are asleep. I always wait till the kids are asleep, even the last one. All right, I'm lying because I forgot Chris watches this. So, but I can't lie.
I mean, I appreciate your honesty. I'm sure Kristen or Chris. I can call her Kristen, right? Or does she want to be called Chris?
No, you can
Okay.
call it Kristen.
I mean, I'm sure she appreciates your honesty.
So yeah, that's my go-to when it's time to calm down, relax. So can I really yell at my kids for being on the phone or playing a video game? Because
even know.
I do the same. Like when I'm sitting at home and we're not doing anything, and the babies are doing their thing, and everybody else just sitting around. Not gonna lie, I'm looking at my phone.
Have you ever like had the kids join you in your video games? Like play video games with you?
Yes, a couple of them do.
All right. Yeah. See? And then it becomes a family event if they're still awake. But if you're doing it most of the time when they're asleep, then that's different. That's your like zone out time.
And that's exactly what it is.
I have that too. Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm okay with phones to an extent, but I'm not totally against it.
Yeah.
So it has its certain situations and what the kids are doing. But I assure you, I'm going to learn how to get that phone out of Riley's hands. Because I know there's a lot of other parents who honestly don't have an issue with the kid being on the phone.
Yeah.
But when you have that phone in your hand and it's doing everything you're doing, you have a serious problem. Like you
Yep.
gotta. So yeah. I know
Well,
I keep repeating
and-
myself, but I
think the biggest issue, right, for parents now is, like we said, the amount of freedom kids have, you know, when it comes to looking up porn, when it comes to looking up really anything they want. I mean, they have it at their fingertips. So what is the role of the parent? Like, we can either say, no, not at all, you can't have it. And then what happens? Your kid ends up, you know, feeling like they don't fit in because all their friends can go on the phone or all their friends can go on YouTube and they can't, so they can't relate in that way. And, you know, social intelligence is a very big deal, I have to say.
Yeah.
And I always think about that because I'm like, you know, I get it, you know, and I totally respect people that do homeschool and all that stuff because I'm sure they find a balance. But it's like, where are we doing our kids an injustice and where are we not? Because it's like, I want my kids to be able to maneuver these different things like a phone, like a computer, and to be able to have self-control. They're not going to learn self-control if the entire time they're growing up, you're like, don't look at it at all. You can't have this. You can't do that. You can't do that. Like, when does a kid learn, okay, I need to use my own, you know, I don't know, what's the word? Self-control, which
Yeah.
I just used. Like, I need to use that in my own self and not depend on someone else to tell me yes or no.
Yeah, I agree.
I
And
don't know.
I look at us being more of a, like, you know how groups on social media have moderators?
Yeah.
I kind of look at like that's what I need to be. I can't
Yep.
say you or any other parent, but me and Chris have to play that moderator role because,
Right.
you know, while we have to let this happen, but we have to be able to moderate it. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
not let it get out of hand. So
I think I agree with you on this topic.
Really?
Yeah, I do. And because
you guys heard it right. She agrees with me because she never does.
Yes, I do. I think we agree on a lot of things.
Okay.
But I do think that you have to find a middle ground. You do. Like in the
Agreed.
world that we live in right now, you have to find a middle ground.
Yep.
And really bad and good, like where does that fall into place in your parenting? I think a lot of it is just educating your kids to think independently, to think for themselves, to have boundaries, and to maybe if something does pop up on their phone, to teach them how to react. So if you see something like porn, which kids will see, I'm sorry, like it's just how the world is right now. It's a click of a button. And so it's like when that does happen, how is your kid going to respond to that? And I think that's where the parent comes into play and is like, look, this is going to happen. So I would do this. I would recommend you do this type of thing.
Yeah.
But
when I was Riley's age, that was 21 years ago. 31 years ago. I'm so sorry. I'll let y'all do the math. I'm not going to tell you what. But the thing is, 31 years, so much changed. So much has changed.
Yeah.
And we got to get with the times.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some people are okay with the change, but some people have a hard time changing. So, they just decide that's bad.
Right.
Get rid of it. No, you're not getting one. Well,
and to be honest with you, I think a lot of the times that's the easiest way to handle a situation is just by saying no, because as a parent, you know that you said no and you did your job, right? But when you're thinking about it in a realistic circumstance, if you really want your kid to know how to react to these things or what decisions to make, you have to talk about it. And it's a part of their life. It's going to be for who knows how long. I mean, this is a new thing for us, but I think we got this. We got this, guys.
I'm glad you had the faith.
I have faith. I have faith in the parents out there.
Well,
because you know what? They're just as imperfect as we are, probably, maybe. I'm sure a lot of you guys are a lot more perfect than we are, but we're just doing our best.
Yeah, I can give that to y'all.
We're just trying hard. So it's a hard thing to navigate.
Yes, it is.
So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Should kids have devices? Should kids not have devices? Is it good or is it bad? Or what things do you have to share? What things have you done with your kids? We'd love to hear about it. So please definitely let us know in the comments below. Follow our socials, Instagram, Facebook, and go to OCN, ourcommunitynow.com, where you can find our podcast and lots of other ones.
I'm your boy, Mike.
I'm Elise.
Catch you next time.